Good day. I just tickled the compost that I put on top of this bed in with the fork quite lightly, and then use the fork to level it off and then just tamp it down a bit. As you can see, I've got 4 rows of garlic in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cloves in each row. So what's that? That's sort of 56, isn't it? So there's 56 in there. I've also kept another bulb to put into a container, to put into a trough. I think there'll be 2 troughs of this Precosum garlic as well, and we'll see how they do. As you can see, it's a day of sort of grey skies and then sunshine, so we've got lovely sunshine at the moment. But what I'm going to do now is just make a hole with my index finger and pop each of the cloves into the ground so that the top pointy end of the clove is just below the soil surface. That's that garlic planted. I put small markers at the end here just until the garlic comes through, and then I'll remove those markers and the ones over here. And as you can see, I've just put bamboo down on top of the bed after just tamping it down again with a fork. The reason I put the bamboo down is the same as the broad beans, just to deter any foxes who might think, lovely fresh earth, I'll do something with that. Down this end here, I do have some Mizuna, and I'm thinking of popping it in there as well as in the polytunnel. I would need to give it a little cover, I think, of some sort if it's outside, unless we're not going to get to freezing for quite a while, which I think is the case. But you know, we also want to get to freezing, particularly in sort of December, January, February, because the garlic likes that cold. It likes 40 days of real cold so that it can form garlic cloves rather than a single garlic bulb, i.e. a non-segmented bulb. But yeah, that's our Precosum garlic in. Well, that's the overhanging branches of the Buddleia, or the overhanging growth actually of the Buddleia cut down. That might impact the polytunnel over the winter months. I've done it today because we're due really quite strong winds over the rest of the week. I think from maybe Thursday onwards, Storm Ciarán is around, always forecast to be around. So what I didn't want to do is have anything overhanging the polytunnel that was either weak or likely to bend down and puncture the polytunnel, or in fact, as you've seen before, branches that were lying on top of the polytunnel that would just deteriorate it even further. I know I've said that the polytunnel is in possibly its last winter, and I'm thinking about moving it. I've decided to keep it exactly where it is, and this shed over here will go. But yeah, I wanted to do the remedial work on that Buddleia before Storm Ciarán arrived, because I'm sure if I hadn't done it, the cover would have been punctured with so much overhanging material. And of course, as often happens, a robin has dived in there. I'm not sure you can see it, I can see it in the shadow, and is looking for lovely grubs. In fact, there's plenty of snail eggs there, Mr. Robin, so go and get fat on those. It really is quite bright out there, as you can see, and rather glorious, rather glorious. I have just had a call and I need to go back to my desk and do something, so I'm going to have to go back to my desk and work. But I'm glad I've got those two jobs done, the garlic planted and this Buddleia cut back. Even if I do nothing else this week, I'm glad I've done those two jobs, because they'll set us in good stead for the future. If I can get down here later on today or tomorrow before Storm Ciarán hits, I'm hoping to do some sowing of first early peas and also of another bed of broad beans. I think I'm going to do some... Anyway, look, why tell you now when you can have the excitement of waiting to find out what I'm thinking of doing? Right, I'm going to go. As you can see, have you seen my haircut? I don't know. I got itchy. I haven't shaved, so I'm a bit itchy. But yeah, my haircut, it's a little bit thinner, which is great. I wish I was. I'm on the way though. I'm on the way. I've had a bit of a blip since Mum died. I've drunk a little bit more wine than usual, and maybe eaten a few more things that I shouldn't have eaten than normal, or eaten more of them than I would normally eat. But I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. Anyway, I'm waffling, I'm going. See you again soon for another segment of A Week at the Plot. Bye. Good day. I'm at the community gardens, the sister site to where we are, and I've been asked to come down and give my view on the work that needs to be done here, and I have to say I've just come in the front gate there, and I haven't been here for years. I've seen it as I've walked along the canal and just looked in, but this is a walnut tree, and that needs taking in hand, definitely, because it's getting rather large, as walnut trees do. This is an espaliered apple line, which isn't anymore, as you can see. Gosh, oh, it's quite it's a bit disheartening actually. This was all nicely tamed when I left, but certainly it needs a lot of work, and I can see, look at the couch grass in there as well. Gosh, a lot of work here. The sort of plots generally look okay, which is great. Oh. Right. These are further. Gosh, yes, a lot of cutting needs to be done here. Gosh, and look at this standing water. Can you see that there? That's further sort of fruit trees, apple and pear trees along there. Again, they need taking in hand. A pear and 2 very old apple trees here. This used to be a wharf of the canal. I understand quite a lot of the stones that went to build the viaduct came off here, because the canal is just on the other side of the tree line there. You can just see the fence. Oh yeah, a lot of work needed. Those apples could be picked as well. Look at that. Anyway, let me have a... Gosh, this used to be my old plot. Just this is all strawberries down here, and at the edge here, and the plot went up to where that decking board is. I mean, there's some really nice chard in there. Look at that. Anyway, I'm going to carry on having a look around. This willow here has got rather tall. The whips down here, which grow on the lower end, are often used for beating of the bounds. The wildlife area there, over there, that's sort of doing really quite well actually. And the pond here, I'm surprised the pond's not fuller than that at the moment with the amount of water that we've had. Yeah, but it's yeah, I suppose it's as full as can be, isn't it? It's funny when you look back on things, they sort of look, well, certainly this looks smaller than I used to remember. That tree there is Christmas tree or fir tree, is certainly larger than it was. I actually put that in with another plot holder here about 6 years ago. And they've got these bins, compost bins, which are just fabulous, really decent quality, but they're full. I'm not sure they're being sort of managed. Yeah, and then there's this area here as well. We did clear this area as a growing area quite a few years ago, but you know, I think these are some of the challenges that people don't appreciate with the community garden, even when people have their own plots. You know, there's work that needs to be done on the site, and I don't think they've had enough volunteers to be able to keep on top of things here. And certainly those that hedge line along there, which is the hedge line and fence line of the canal, needs tidying as well. Work to do. Interesting. Back at the apple line. Not sure if you can hear them or see them. Maybe you can hear. 4 parakeets. They've certainly been enjoying the apples. Yeah. And this here is a monitoring station, a sound monitoring station, because Heathrow is sort of over there. So yeah, it monitors the sound of the planes as they come over. Gosh, we put this tree in as well. Look at that one. Quite majestic. This is plot 19. This is the plot that I got when I was lucky enough to reach the top of the list. And I think I know the couple that still have this plot. I think they took it over from me when I moved from here to that one that we looked at over there. So I came down here on the 22nd, I think it was, of December 2014, and this plot was an absolute mess. So it's really nice to see it looking sort of decent, and some I think purple sprouting broccoli and a couple of cabbage growing there. Because it in a day, well, in maybe 3 hours in the afternoon, I turned it from a really weedy mess to something that was contained, which was great. And that was the start, or the restart, of my growing journey. 22nd of December 2014. But yeah, I'm sort of quite impressed by how much growing has gone on this year. Some plots obviously look better than others, and some have been sort of put to bed for the winter. Some have got things growing on them over the winter, which is great. But yeah, it's things to mull. Good day. Well, I've taken those two lavender out, and I'm going to pop them into some tubs that I've got just for the winter, because I want to put them into this bed here, but I'm going to need to work on that bed and get all the cinquefoil out. The reason I've decided to take these out is the amount of cinquefoil and bindweed they were harbouring in their roots, or sheltering, let's say, in their roots. And of course the cinquefoil and the bindweed was harbouring itself in their roots. So yeah, I've taken those out now and given the edges of this bed here and this one here a weed. Yeah, and now I'm just going to take the lavender and pop them into their own tubs. When I replant these lavender, I'll have to take them back to bare root, because I know that there will be perennial weed root in their root balls. So yeah, in fact I may do that at the weekend, depending upon how the weather is, because it's quite a good time to move plants like lavender at the moment. I thought I'd actually show you this root ball, and you can see here this root of cinquefoil that is embedded in there. This is bindweed. If I turn, let me just take those two pieces away. If I turn this around, you can see maybe that there's another cinquefoil plant there. If I tease that out, look, you can see the root of that cinquefoil was really embedded through. So I need to make sure I get that out. That's all sort of decent root, though a bit old, of the lavender. But when I say bare root, what I mean is that I will at some point, maybe this weekend, wash all of this soil off this root, so you literally take it to bare root, and then you replant the whole thing basically in fresh compost. And that way you make sure that cinquefoil roots like that, or bindweed roots that you might have, are not in your root ball when you replant it. So yeah, when you have something like this, particularly when it's a sort of quite a fibrous plant, if you know you've got some sort of nasty perennial weeds, which for me are cinquefoil, bindweed and couch grass, get them out by taking a plant back to bare root. Right, I'm going to carry on having a look at this and unweaving the cinquefoil from this plant. That's 4 rows laid out, and I'm just going to make the holes so that they can drop in and I can cover them up. It's beginning to rain quite a lot. This end row, I've got some more at home, so I need to bring those down to do that end row, and I'll try and sort of get them spaced so that they line up, but I think it's best to just get these sown and in. If this line is a bit higgledy-piggledy compared to the rest of the rows, I'm not going to worry about it too much, especially as it's raining now. So that's 4 rows of additional broad beans sown, which is great. As I say, I've got some more seeds at home, and if there's a bit of a dry gap tomorrow, I will sow that 5th row and get that done. Our bonfire social has been called off. We're going to put it back a week or so, simply because we've had so much rain yesterday and earlier today, and we're due more rain tomorrow. And as you've seen today, it's been quite showery as I've been doing the work there. But yeah, that's those beds done, so I'm pleased with that. And 1 more row, fingers crossed, done tomorrow, and I'll be sorted. And something else I'm sorted for is this week's A Week at the Plot. It's Friday afternoon, and Richard has been off yesterday and today, so we've been doing various things. If you're a coffee member, then there's a new podcast on coffee for you to listen to, so please go to that. That's ko-fi.com/Richard and Paul. And yeah, if you're a paying member on there, you'll be able to listen to it. And if you're not a paying member, you'll be able to see sort of the type of things that go on there for people who are paying members. Anyway, yes, I'm going to leave it there. I'm pleased with the work that I've got done this week. It's been quite a busy week at home and with work. And over the weekend, if we do get decent weather, I'm just going to be tidying around the site, doing a bit of weeding. As you saw, the edges of that bed need a great amount of weeding, but yeah, that will be done. The important things at the moment is getting in your broad beans, getting in your peas if they're going to be overwintering, and getting in your garlic and overwintering onions if you're doing overwintering onions. Best to get those in the ground and then weed around the beds. Make sure the bed is weeded before you put anything in, but weed around the beds after. That weeding can wait. You know, I can do that in the darker days when there is less to, well, when everything is sown, basically. Yeah. Anyway, if you've got any questions, please do leave them down below. If you've got any comments as well. And whatever you're doing in your growing space, your garden, your allotment, I hope it is going well. And I hope you haven't had too much rain or too much heat. See you very soon. Happy growing. Bye. Can you see that? It is getting cool in the afternoon now. Bye.